Jesus Freak here. Now, I know I just did one of my 411s this morning. This one's sort of a follow up on that. See, yesterday, after I did some minor screen damage to my Samsung S20, I went out and used some emergency money and got a cheap carrier phone. It's not really that bad considering the fact that the S20 was a pretty good phone 5 years ago, and this might be a cheap phone, but it's a cheap phone 5 years newer than the Samsung. So I'm like, well, yeah, it's a little weaker. It's not that big a deal. Plus, you know, I can still use both my old Samsungs for cameras. In fact, the S20 is still my better choice as a camera because the camera can do almost 4K on the selfie cam and full 4K on the regular cam, where this one can only do a little under 3K. So I've got my apps installed. Exception of Fortnite. Haven't played Fortnite in eons. If I feel like installing that I probably will. More likely, I'll probably just run it on one of the Samsungs. Anyway, this phone runs Android 14. And it's kind of weird because I'm used to the Samsung variant of Android, which does things one way, where this does things the way a bit closer to the way my old Motorola did. And that includes having the buttons backward at the bottom, and I can't set them to the way I'm used to. The other limitation is I could barely run Android IRC on Android 13 because it hadn't been updated in years. But on 14, it won't run at all. You install it, it just says, nope, not doing it. So I wound up having to install a different program when I had been using the same one since 2011 and had muscle memory for it. And Revolution IRC, which itself hasn't been updated in a while, but 2 years rather than more like 10. It works, but it's clumsy. I'm not getting rid of the old phones. They still work, but this being a newer phone and
Wait.
running a newer version of Android, and having screen protector in the case,
Wait.
because it's hard to find cases for phones that aren't the latest and greatest. Which is why I didn't have a case on the other one, and which is why it kept getting dinged. I mean, yeah, I could have waited a little while and got another S20. As a camera, it's fine. And in fact, better because it's got the SD. While I'm waiting for a package, it's coming in the mail, probably get around the same time I got my package yesterday. Not talking too much about that, it's not important. I don't think y'all want to see me in a pair of guillotine earrings, but I bought a pair of guillotine earrings. Reference to another YouTuber I follow. So, this order is a bit more practical. Some shelving, top of a table kind of shelving. Some bookends for my bookcase. Won't be enough, but it's something. And some faux leather I can use to fix a couple of my Bibles. Most likely, if I'm using this phone to shoot video, it's probably only going to be like, when I'm off on the run and this is all I got with me. Because it's plenty good enough for that. I mean, if I'm recording for YouTube, really if I'm recording for anything, I don't need more than 1080p. It's just good to have. Maybe, for like archival stuff. So, topping up on a few things while I'm out. I started to do a video about something. So, I can't show every step of the process. But if I buy one thing, I can. And in the process, I can top up my soda. So, why not? Jesus freak out.